Ukraine war, there are no both parties because there is one aggressor and one victim. And that's why, if we want to have a sustainable peace, a long-lasting peace, we should make sure that the concessions are on the aggressor side, that the aggression does not pay off, it's not rewarded. If we look at the last 100 years, Russia has attacked 19 countries, some as many as 3 or 4 times. None of these countries has ever attacked Russia. So putting limitations and stress on Ukraine actually does not bring us long-lasting peace. Okay, we give security guarantees to Ukraine, it will end there, but it will start somewhere else, because the problem is the Russian military. Their army is extremely large, their military budget is enormous, and they will want to use it again. If not on Ukraine, then somewhere else. So focusing on really, putting the pressure on the aggressor, like Jose Manuel said, if aggression is rewarded, we will see it happen again. And not only in Ukraine or Gaza, but all around the world, because aggression really pays off. That's why we have so many wars nowadays going on, that the international law is really under a heavy fire.
Okay, but the question really is, what is the leverage that you have? Because if the US is pulling back, which it is, in terms of making you step up and fill that gap militarily,
yes,
clearly Putin doesn't feel any leverage right now.
We have leverage, and that is economic leverage. I mean, wars also end when the aggressor runs out of money to fund this war. And that's why, yes, we see the economy is not doing well. I mean, if you look at the indicators like the interest rate of the central bank, you see that their national fund is almost completely depleted. They don't have the same revenues from oil and gas due to the sanctions, and also, the sanctions on Shadow Fleet are hitting them hard. Now we have the discussions of using the Russian frozen assets for the reparation loan.
Where's that going to end? Because Belgium says no.
Well, we are 27 democracies. It always takes time to get to results, but the discussions are ongoing. The proposal is now on the table. Why is it so important? To really show that it doesn't pay off. And there are examples from the history, from this part of the world. I mean, when Iraq invaded Kuwait, it was exactly the same case. I mean, if you look at the speeches...
There was a military confrontation. I covered it. America got 500,000
the
troops
difference was it wasn't the UN Security Council member who was doing the aggression, and that's why the international response was very clear. But the case is exactly the same, and there we actually defended the international law, all of us together. So my point being that wars end when aggressors run out of money. By the way, Russia ended the war in Afghanistan when they ran out of money to finance this war. So they want us to believe that, they're doing fine, nothing to see here, we can outlast you. It's not really true if you and by the way, in that national security paper that you were talking about, there is that, Americans are saying that Europe has a huge leverage, regarding Russia. So we shouldn't also underestimate our own power and overestimate Russia's strength.
Except often from America we hear that Ukraine has no cards, that Russia thinks it's going to win. I mean, what does that do in terms of building leverage for the person you say, or the state you say, needs to be defended, which is the victim?
Well, first of all, we should understand, and really, I mean, we have so many examples from the Russian negotiation tactic. I mean, this is the way they operate always. Present demands, like totally absurd demands. Like right now, they are demanding territories that they haven't been able to conquer militarily in 11 years. If you think back to 2014. So they're demanding this. Then the second is like present threats, ultimatums, which they are doing as well. And then, third level is that there will always be people in the West who will offer you something that you didn't have before. So you walk away with more than you had. We have seen this many, many times, and always it brings more war. So right now we should not walk into those traps, and we should concentrate on what we are doing, helping Ukraine to defend itself, pressuring Russia with the sanctions so that they would actually go from pretending to negotiate to the point where they need to negotiate.